We're broadcasting live from our Pocketso studios right here in Highlands, Harare. My name is Zain Jamo and welcome to the main news. And of course, it's a lovely evening to you, Joyce.
Well, good evening to you, Zain, and thank you once again for joining us on the main news. My name is Joyce Mabika. Piswa Dominica is on sign language.
And of course, later on, Arthur Evans will be joining us from our Montrose studios. And later on, Anashe Murombedzi will be walking us through sport. But we kick off this bulletin with the headlines.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa says government is promoting a conducive environment for business growth.
He was speaking at the CEO Africa Roundtable in Victoria Falls this Thursday.
In business, a SADC industrialization roadmap contributes to Zimbabwe's industrial growth.
And in sport, Zimbabwe cricket set to appoint the new Chevrons coach.
And I'll give you these and more stories in detail. In our leading story, President Emmerson Mnangagwa says the Second Republic is on a drive to foster a conducive environment for business growth and development.
He was speaking at the 10th edition of the CEO Africa Roundtable in Victoria Falls this Thursday. Our chief correspondent, Ruben Barwe, gives us the details.
The annual Chief Executive Officer CEO Africa Roundtable has been going on for the past 10 years. The President, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa, has religiously attended this roundtable for the past 6 years. The 2024 theme of the CEO Africa Roundtable is, and I quote, "The future of Africa, modernize, reshape and grow," end of quote. President Mnangagwa said the discussions, dialogue sessions and innovative platforms should see growth in our economy, especially the use of information communication technologies, ICTs.
We are currently standing on the brink of a technological revolution that is fundamentally altering the way we live, the way we work, and relate to one another, which is characterized by a fusion of technologies that is blurring the lines between the physical, digital, and biological spheres of our lives.
President Mnangagwa said local authorities should complement development by adopting technologies for resource planning, procurement, project management, and risk management as the country moves to establish smart cities. Comrade Mnangagwa said his government is committed to improve trade facilitation, taking advantage of the country's strategic geographical location in the sub-region.
Financial service providers on the continent should be innovative and strive to foster more financial inclusion and intermediation between savers and borrowers through offering affordable products. That way, encouraging savings from the general public. By ensuring that the banking public gets a positive return on their savings, more resources will be unlocked for on lending to the productive sectors. During our time when we were young, when we put money in the bank, it increased. Recently, if you put in it decreases. I don't know what has happened. This ultimately restores confidence in the financial services sector.
The head of state said, "The onus is upon the current crop of business leaders to take comparative advantages of value chains." Despite the El Nino-induced drought, the president said the economy is on the progressive growth trajectory with a GDP growth projection of 4.8% this year. The president had a question and answer session with some of the captains of industry in both private and public sectors who wanted to hear from him on government thinking about global economic rating.
I am not advocating for Zimbabwe to remain an island. But as we interact with other nations, regions, internationally, regionally, we still remain who we are. In that process, you will not be able to please everybody. But let me assure you, you young people, If you take this philosophy, someday you will be respected for being whom you are.
The elephant in the room of the Zimbabwean economy has been the currency volatility, and these captains of industry wanted to hear from the head of state on the new currency, the ZiG.
With all the tribulations we've gone through, we've now decided that our currency be anchored on gold. This is a new approach to stabilizing our economy. Personally, I'm not an economist, I'm a head boy. I'm satisfied that what we have done now, anchoring our currency on gold, is a sound approach to a stable currency.
As curtains come down at Victoria Falls for the 10th CEO Roundtable this coming Friday, the Zimbabwean economy is the fastest growing economy in the region, despite the illegal Western sanctions, said the president. Ruben Barwe, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
The private sector is gearing up to leverage on the African Continental Free Trade Area as part of efforts to grow the local economy in line with the objectives of Vision 2030.
A flagship project of the African Union, the AfCFTA seeks to create a single continental market for goods and services. The historic agreement is meant to boost trade within Africa, reduce reliance on imports, and unlock the continent's vast economic potential. The official opening of the 10th edition of the CEO Africa Roundtable in Victoria Falls this Thursday saw the private sector acknowledging the need to utilize the AfCFTA to grow the country's economy.
The all African nations, in particular Zimbabwe, should exploit the window or gateway to the AfCFTA. Africa cannot continue to rely on external finance for its growth and development. Hence, there is a need to rethink the financing architecture of Africa.
As CEOs, and particularly as someone who is coming from a state-owned enterprise, I foresee the need for most state-owned enterprise to start coming up and gelling in terms of issues to do with governance, issues to do with also molding the enterprises in such a way that they can effectively contribute in the economic sphere and economic trajectory of the country. We're looking at state enterprises being there to grow the economy, being there to also add into the competition which is coming from the private sector.
Government concurred on the need to exploit the AfCFTA to grow the economy.
This is in line with what is being pursued at both the regional and continental levels. Sustainable industrial development is centered on trade, which brings people from different regions and continents and cultures together.
Let's take this opportunity to strengthen our partnership and promote the African Continental Free Trade Area.
Zimbabwe is marching towards the attainment of an upper middle income society by 2030, and the AfCFTA is expected to bolster the attainment of this vision. Tichaona Kurewa, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
Vice President, General Retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga, has been impressed by Tajikistan's advancement in agriculture, food processing and mining as Zimbabwe explores areas of possible cooperation with the Asian country.
Vice President Chiwenga, who is attending the Dushanbe Water Process Third High-Level International Conference, toured exhibition stands at the Tajikistan Industrial Expo this Thursday. He was impressed by Tajikistan's resilience and innovativeness, noting the country's significant progress in water management and energy development.
When you look at the development, some of the companies started way back in the 60s. And now they have now grown to very high levels of perfecting their products. One of the takeaways we have is we are an agricultural country, and we should not only do productivity, but we must also value add what we produce. There's nothing which stops us from advancing. As you are aware now that we have now raised the production of our food on our shelves from 33, 35% to almost we are now getting to 80%. We would want to get up to 100%.
Beyond the conference, Vice President Chiwenga's visit seeks to fortify ties and identify opportunities for cooperation between Zimbabwe and Tajikistan. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Dushanbe.
Measures to protect the ZiG currency have been tightened, with the Financial Intelligence Unit freezing accounts of over 500 firms and individuals who were manipulating the exchange rate.
Giving an overview of the efforts to deal with foreign currency manipulators and protecting the structured currency on ZBC's World of Business program this Wednesday, Financial Intelligence Unit FIU Director Mr. Oliver Chiperesa said the net is closing on all exchange rate violators.
Since January, we have frozen to date more than 500 accounts, as you have indicated. And out of those more than 500 accounts, we have issued penalties, 160 penalties in terms of fines. Some of them we have, where we have not issued fines, we have simply warned, where we notice that the violation is minor and maybe there are good reasons to warn and caution the offender. We warn and caution them.
Mr. Chiperesa said that the FIU, an arm of the central bank, is also forging ahead with measures to stamp out illicit dealings that threaten gains of the newly introduced structured currency.
We are targeting traders who are either refusing to accept ZiG, or when they accept ZiG, they are taking it at parallel market rates. You are putting a premium on top of the official rate. Then we are also targeting people who destabilize our currency through conducting illegal foreign currency transactions. These involve monitoring and analyzing banking transactions and then flagging out those that are carrying out illegal activities.
The Zimbabwe Gold, which was launched on the 5th of April this year, has continued to record gains against major currencies. The FIU has thus come up with interventions to safeguard the value of the local currency. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
In a related development, market analysts are expecting the ZiG currency to further gain against major currencies ahead of the tax payment dates this month as business owners hold on to their ZiG balances.
The local ZiG currencies defied the odds after maintaining stability against major currencies and firming on the interbank forex market since its introduction in April this year, with corporates and other legal entities expected to pay their taxes for the second quarter on the 25th of this month. Economic analyst Mr. Marlon Gwadu says the requirement by Treasury to settle 50% of taxes in ZiG will further give impetus to strengthening the local currency.
Its demand is quite high, and it's also a show of commitment by government in terms of showing appetite for the ZiG in its settlement of statutory obligations such as income tax. And this is precipitating obviously across all tax heads in the medium to long term. Already in VAT tax, you can settle in both currencies, that's the ZiG and the USD. Now with income taxes or through the QPDs, we foresee increase in demand.
Economist Mr. Persistence Guanyanya says the development will provide a form of measurement of the central bank's tight monetary policy stance on the ZiG.
We expect increased demand and acceptability of ZiG in the market. And as that happens, we expect the ZiG to continue gaining value as it has been doing.
One medium-scale business owner in Harare says he is not letting go any inflow of ZiG into his business, fearing he might replace it at a huge cost.
It's not easily available. You have to work for it, to earn it. It's no longer as easy as it was before. I think it's good for us because no one is trading with ZiG in the streets. For us, if we work for it, we'll get it. It's not available to everyone in the street. The control is there. We can feel it.
The Treasury and the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe have put sufficient fundamentals in place to back the ZiG currency, but are also high on the heels of currency manipulators hell-bent on distorting market conditions to satisfy their profiteering motives. Meanwhile, a local mobile money operator, EcoCash, has introduced a platform whereby users can exchange ZiG for foreign currency at official rates in a move set to help eradicate parallel market activities which have been undermining the value of the previous local currencies. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
Now, shifting our attention to the health sector, Vice President Comrade Kembo Mohadi has officially commissioned Runyararo Health Center in Chimanimani, which is set to revitalize healthcare for resettled Cyclone Idai survivors.
Vice President Kembo Mohadi has officially commissioned the Runyararo Health Center in Chimanimani, which is set to offer health access to resettled Cyclone Idai survivors who are based at West End Farm here in Chimanimani. Commissioning the health facility, Vice President Kembo Mohadi revealed that government has committed over 17 million United States dollars towards construction of fully equipped modern health facilities across the country.
It is the responsibility of government to ensure that no child, mother, caregiver, or patient has to travel beyond 5 kilometers from their residence to seek medical attention. Many patients endure long journeys of over 10 kilometers to access health care services. And we say no and no to that in the Second Republic.
Senior government officials said the development is a step forward in the implementation of the National Health Strategy running from 2021 to 2025.
Kubvira pakatanga Second Republic ichitungamirirwa nababa vedu President Comrade E.D. Mnangagwa, Ministry yedu ye Health and Child Care yakatanga kuvaka zvipatara zvitsva, kugadziridza zviripo, uyezve nekutsvaga zvekushandisa zvemhando yepamusoro.
A great transformation has been observed through the provision of services. The journey has not been easy, and I would like to take this opportunity to call on Treasury for the release of more funds to ensure the completion of the remaining Runyararo houses, construction of a road network, as well as for the establishment of Umbumbumbu Dam, which is earmarked to provide permanent water supply to the dry community of Runyararo.
The development has also excited the local leadership.
Toda kukutendai Honorable VP nekuya kwenye kwa maita kuno kuzotipa chipatara. Kutungamira mhuri zina chipatara kunorema.
Vanhu vangu vanobatsirwa plus futi achaendawo kure kubude kunana Mutambara mission area yakuonawo kuti mwane development, marodzi, kuzoti clinic yakanaka.
Health facilities akadai waya kuti hatisina. Saka zvikanga zvakudai hurumende iri kuratidza kuti zvayakati promise kubva kuna 2019 kuti tichakuita resettle vanhu tichiuya kuisa health facilities vari kudzadzisa.
The commissioning of the facility comes at a time when government has already established a school and over 165 housing units for the resettled Cyclone Idai survivors. Tamuka Charakupa, ZBC News, Runyararo.
Meanwhile, Operation Chenesa Harare Phase 2 has been embraced by the private sector, which is complementing government efforts to tackle the city's mounting waste management challenges.
The intervention comes as the capital city is grappling with heaps of uncollected garbage, posing health risks to residents and visitors alike. Dzivarasekwa high-density suburb was the focal point this Thursday as Phase 2 of Operation Chenesa Harare takes off.
Hurumende takaona kuti tikati kanzuru ingotanga chirongwa chiega yaikundikana nekushaya zvikwanisiro kana nekushaya simba rekuda kushanda. Isu hurumende tikati tega tichitanga chirongwa chacho isusu kana tachitanga tochiramba tichishanda neve private sector kuti marara achiramba achingotakurwa sematakurwa aingoitwa kuti pasvondo aigona kutakurwa katatu, musi wemuvhuro, musi wechitatu nemusi wechishanu.
The private sector has come on board, injecting resources, expertise and manpower, while also pledging a fresh start for the capital.
The private sector is supporting the government's program because whenever the government needs their service, they are ready to provide. The private sector provided equipment, front-end loaders and tippers.
Meanwhile, Harare City Mayor Jacob Mafume says the local authority will put in place strict regulatory measures to penalize individuals caught littering around the city.
We are going to increase the policing. We are going to bring together all of our agencies, city parking, municipal police, developmental control, to enforce the bylaws that are there, so that we have a city that is a city, in not only in name, but in character and in outlook.
Phase 1 of the program saw over 25,000 tons of solid waste being collected from dumps that had accumulated across the capital early this year.
The ZANU-PF Women's League has made an undertaking to work round the clock and ensure Vision 2030 is a reality through the greater participation of women in economic transformation.
The ZANU-PF Women's League convened its second national executive meeting of the year in Harare this Thursday to update women on developments in the national economy. The League Secretary, Comrade Mabel Chinomona, stressed the importance of working hard to ensure Vision 2030 becomes a reality.
We are duty-bound to work hard and serve the women we represent, starting from the grassroots levels, in the villages and the cells, up to the highest levels of society. Let us continue to intensify the deserved merited support throughout the journey to attain Vision 2030. Vision 2030 will be a reality and against all odds.
Comrade Chinomona applauded government efforts in the fight against drug and substance abuse, imploring women to play their role.
Vana vari kutora zvinodhaka izvi. Vana ava vari kuswera kupiko. Let us monitor our children's movements. Ngatizive kunoswera vana vedu. Ngatizive vana vanoswera vanawo. Vanotamba nani? Mwana wako anotamba nani? Shamwari yake ndiani? Kwete kungoenda hanzi mazuva ano hazvichabvunzwi ndo mukutanga kusimudza ikoko zvaanobva nazvo hauzivi zvausingakwanisa kana kumukontrola. Vamwe kana vana vacho wauya haatomboziva kuti mukati memba ino muno mubereki nekuti atakurana nemhepo dzekunze uku.
Meanwhile, the Zimbabwe National Liberation War Veterans Association will hold its elective congress next month.
Holding of all administrative district elections will be on the 22nd of June 2024. Holding of provincial elections will be on the 29th of June 2024, and the Congress will be held on the 12th of July at a venue to be advised.
All veterans of the liberation struggle are being urged to participate in the elections from district to national level. Bruce Chawanda, ZBC News, Harare.
The Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development is set to host an irrigation conference early next month to highlight investment opportunities available in the subsector. In an interview on ZBC Current Affairs program Face the Nation this Wednesday, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Professor Obed Jiri, revealed the country is targeting to put 350,000 hectares under irrigation by 2025 to achieve food self-sufficiency.
We certainly need, investors who will come on board. But the first thing that anyone would need to do is to understand this concept that we have, that we need 350,000 hectares under cereal production to be able to be self-sufficient as a country. So that is the understanding that we would want anyone involved in the irrigation space, in the production space, in the agricultural space, in the funding space, to understand that there is an opportunity. For bankers, for example, when we invite them, we want them to understand that if they invest in irrigation, they will be able to reduce the risk profile of their loan book by a huge margin, because now they know that they will fund something that they are guaranteed of getting a return. If we invite the irrigation people, we know that they will be able to unlock their business in a big way, because now they will know that the country is focused on promoting equipment to deal with irrigation. If we invite development partners, we know that they would be excited, because suddenly we will reduce the dependency on humanitarian support to development support. So everyone must come for this conference, which we think will unlock the vast potential that is there in Zimbabwe as a country. So our agriculture is and must be hinged on climate proofing through irrigation development. And this is why this conference is so important.
An update from the courts. Notorious armed robbers who were arrested in Chadcom, Harare, after an attempted robbery which saw 3 of them being gunned down in 2021 have been sentenced to a combined 60-year jail term.
The armed robbers who orchestrated movie-style robberies in Harare, targeting houses in low-density suburbs, will spend the better part of their adult lives locked up after getting lengthy custodial sentences. Francis Takura, Wirimai Nyandoro and Shane Nyamunga, together with their accomplices, some of whom were gunned down, had become notorious for assaulting their victims before demanding cash and valuables at gunpoint. They were also involved in carjacking, with the vehicles being used as getaway cars. They, however, ran out of luck in December 2021 when they attempted to steal from a former CID homicide detective who gunned down 3 of the robbers after a shootout. The trio of Takura, Nyandoro and
Our apologies for that abrupt end to that story. Remember, these and more stories are available in greater detail on our website. It is www.zbcnews.co.zw.
Or you could visit our social media pages, that is at ZBC News Online.
Still to come in this bulletin. A SADC industrialization roadmap contributes to Zimbabwe's industrial growth.
And in sport, Zimbabwe cricket set to appoint the new Chevrons coach.
We'll be back shortly with these and more stories after this break.
Why is Pizza Inn? Must be the pizza. Football season is over.
What?
Yes, it's over.
No! Oh no.
But not for us here at Supersport. We've got a big deal coming your way.
Yeah! Sorry, that's actually a pretty big deal.
Catch all 51 games of Euro 2024. Stay connected to DSTV to watch all the action on Supersport.
Welcome back from the break. In our next report, government is intensifying mineral beneficiation and value addition to boost the value of exports and create employment.
Approach to reducing raw mineral exports has played a crucial role in stimulating investment in beneficiation facilities. This emerged during the Senate sitting this Thursday, where the leader of government business, Honorable Lovemore Matuke, spoke on government's thrust with regards to export restrictions, which have effectively incentivized investment in beneficiation, enabling the country to maximize the value of its rich mineral resources.
Some mining companies which were identified by government which produces more minerals. A good example is Zimplus, the Mimosa, and other big mines. They were actually given time frame to make sure that they set up a plant so that we can process those minerals, and we are discouraging as government to export raw materials, because when we export raw materials, we'll be exporting together with the jobs. So let me just say it's now government policy to make sure that we process.
Government also revealed it is working on building more primary and secondary schools, especially in rural areas, to reduce the walking distances to school.
We have low-cost boarding schools that are being implemented at the moment. This will act bridging that gap, that the children will be at school from Monday to Friday, and then Saturday they go to their homes. We have quite a number of schools like that. However, the government is making efforts in building more schools.
Other issues raised include the Rural Electrification Fund that has seen more schools being connected to the national grid. Senate also implored government ministers to attend sessions as they are compelled to respond to motions raised in every sitting. Memory Chenesa, ZBC News, Harare.
We are now crossing over to our Montrose studios in Bulawayo, where we join Arthur Evans to give us more news from that end. It's a very good evening to you, Arthur. It's over to you.
Thank you so much, Joyce. Our first port of call is all about infrastructure. The Infrastructure Development Bank of Zimbabwe is making significant strides in transforming Bulawayo's infrastructural landscape, focusing on student accommodation.
Purpose Complex, which comprises 3 blocks of flats, funded to the tune of $15.6 million by the IDBZ, provides safe, affordable and conducive accommodation for students. The project is in partnership with the Mining Industry Pension Fund, Old Mutual and Zimnet. The Students' Complex comes at a time when most students were forced to endure cramped and often unsafe living conditions.
I really appreciate the IDBZ, the government, coming up with this structure, this infrastructure for our students, which is very safe.
The building is nice. Everything is perfect.
Student Complex is a one-stop center where we can get all the things that we need: the saloon, the canteen, the study room.
It's been very useful for us, especially considering there are others who used to stay very, very far away.
The project has created jobs in construction and property management, contributing to provincial economic growth. The bank is also involved in developing essential infrastructure, which is expected to contribute to economic development.
We also want to make sure that every Zimbabwean has access to proper health facilities, hence esihlengweni. We also want to make sure that people have affordable accommodation, hence the projects that we are doing at Willsgrove, among others that we are doing even in Plumtree, Lupani and so forth.
We are not just in hard infrastructure, but we also have interventions in the social sector like education and health. We also are supporting efforts in irrigation, especially in agriculture, especially in irrigated agriculture.
The initiative is expected to be replicated in other cities, with Lupane the next port of call. Yolanda Moy, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
National health insurance is imminent, and as a result, stakeholders in the health sector converged in Bulawayo this Thursday for a consultative meeting ahead of the presentation of the national insurance next month.
The establishment of the National Health Insurance, NHI, is part of government efforts to provide equitable, affordable, and high-quality health care for all Zimbabweans while eliminating barriers to health care. Stakeholders who were part of the stakeholders consultative meeting in Bulawayo this Thursday stressed the need for transparency and collaborative efforts to ensure the insurance fund reaches the intended beneficiaries.
It's a great initiative, and I just feel that the collaboration is what's going to make this a success. We are fully supportive of government and really want to be involved and we'll give our resources to the Ministry of Health to make sure that this works.
And obviously encourage that accountability structures also be put in place. We want to also see the oversight role of Parliament being strengthened in that regard. We want to see the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on public accounts being active. We want to see the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on budget and finance also being very active.
The National Health Insurance Scheme, which intends to leave no one and no place behind in accessing health care, is expected to generate revenue from government's various tax collection mechanisms.
Proposed plan from the Ministry of Government is that it should not be a contributory system. So we're looking at probably exploring other alternatives of funding. The idea is that we scratch $1 here, a cent there, and we put together into the National Health Insurance.
The National Health Insurance Fund is part of government's drive to achieve universal health coverage by the year 2030. Grace Sibanda, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
We continue speaking of government interventions, and government has read the Riot Act to mining firms operating in the Midlands province over poor working conditions and rampant land degradation.
Rampant land degradation and failure to comply with mining regulations were topical issues as stakeholders in the mining sector converged in Gweru this Thursday. Government says the time for floating mining regulations is over, with measures to deal with errant behavior now in place.
Ladies and gentlemen, the era of leaving pits, open pits must come to an immediate end. I have since instructed DDCs to engage you, the mining sector, on these and other issues as a matter of urgency. Corrective action must be taken immediately, as starting next month. We are visiting all mining entities to monitor compliance. We urge the Ministry of Mines and Mining Development, local authorities and EMA to descend heavily on errant mining entities violating statutory instruments and provisions.
Miners say the engagement has opened their eyes as it will result in a proactive approach in addressing challenges in the sector.
Tikuona kuti tinochera asi kada chera taisa mari muhomwe atizocheuki kuti vatiri kushanda navo ugaro hwavo hwakaita sei. Saka isiri kuti aiwa zvaitwa naminista wedu of state of Midlands province vaseta pace yakanaka kwatiri isusu maminers.
Isu tichatobuda tichinodzidzisawo vashandi vedu tigozonodzidzisa vamwe vose maminers takamirirawo maorganization edu atiri kufamba nawo.
The mineral-rich Midlands province has witnessed massive land degradation due to irresponsible mining activities amid indications that land reclamation efforts are not matching the destruction to Mother Nature. Tafaraj Kumira, ZBC News, Gweru.
Speaking of bringing things to an end, that's all we have for you from our Montrose News Desk. We continue from our Pockets Hill studios. My name is Arthur Evans. Over to you, team.
Well, thank you, Arthur, and our crew at Montrose Studios in Bulawayo. Zimbabwe's relations with the United Kingdom continue on a positive trajectory as the Second Republic pursues the engagement and re-engagement drive.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa sent a message of congratulations to King Charles III to mark his 75th birthday. The message was delivered by Foreign Affairs and International Trade Deputy Minister Honorable Sheila Chikomo, who said the president wishes the king good health.
I've got a very special message from my president, His Excellency Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, to His Majesty Royal Highness King Charles III. On behalf of the government and the people of the Republic of Zimbabwe, I extend to you and through you, Your Excellency, Ambassador Pete Vars, warm congratulations to His Majesty King Charles III. We recognize the strong historical and cultural ties between our countries and sincerely hope that we will continue working closely together to further strengthen, deepen, and broaden our bilateral relations for the mutual benefit of our people.
The British envoy to Zimbabwe, His Excellency Pete Voles, relived King Charles's fond memories of Zimbabwe.
I was fortunate enough to meet His Royal Highness, King Charles III, 3 weeks ago at Buckingham Palace, Panga Pakanaki Sisa. Although our conversation remains private, I can say that his fondness for Zimbabwe was clear. He recalled his first visit here with happiness the day Zimbabwe was born 44 years ago. And I was really proud to be able to tell him about the work we're doing as part of the UK-Zimbabwe partnership. Whether it's our partners working in communities in Binga and Chiredzi, UK companies running hydro schemes in Nyanga, or our incredible solar technology offer.
Harare and London are looking at ways of re-engaging and cooperating in different fields, with Zimbabwe seeking readmission into the Commonwealth. King Charles III was officially born on the 14th of November, with his birthday celebrated in June with British tradition. 2024 is the first birthday celebration since he ascended the throne after the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, in 2022. Olin Ndori, ZBC News, Harare.
Indonesia has handed over a plaque to the Museum of the African Liberation as a sign of interest to invest in the project.
The Indonesian delegation, led by the Asian country's top envoy to Zimbabwe, His Excellency Dewa Sastran, toured the Museum of African Liberation in Harare this Thursday to get an appreciation of the works being done before handing over an artifact.
This is the 10th declaration that how then we are together, Asia and Africa, and then fight for our independence. So since then one by one country were independence. And we, from this part, then we formed the non-aligned movement. So non-aligned movement countries, and then we work together in multilateral, we work in the UN, the Coalition Committee, and then one by one country in Asia, particularly in Africa, was liberated. Yeah. So that is the beginning of liberation from Asia and Africa.
The delegation, which includes Indonesian parliamentarians, was hosted by INSTAC Chief Executive Officer Ambassador Kwame Mzalazi.
We look forward to Indonesia and Zimbabwe partnering on the Museum of African Liberation. The seed has been sown today, and we hope next time you come, we do bigger things and even much more deeper things. We hope you plant the Indonesian tree, raise the Indonesian flag, and we will have the Indonesian corner, as you said, Ambassador.
Zimbabwe and Indonesia enjoy cordial relations, which have seen the two countries working together on various fronts, including health and tourism. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Harare.
In stories from beyond our country's borders, the South African Constitutional Court has thrown out the Umkhonto weSizwe Party's application to stop the first sitting of the National Assembly scheduled for this Friday.
The Apex Court ruled that the MK party did not produce enough evidence to support its application to prevent the first sitting of the National Assembly on the 14th of June. According to the South African Constitution, the first sitting of the National Assembly is supposed to take place within 14 days after the declaration of election results at a date and time determined by the Chief Justice. Inkatha Freedom Party President Velinkosi Hlabisa, which got 3.85% in the elections, confirmed that it will join the National Unity Government led by the ANC for the sake of the people and the country as the deadline to reach an agreement approaches. IFP added that it had also started negotiations to form a coalition with the ANC and the Democratic Alliance in the KwaZulu-Natal province, where the MK party got the most votes. According to the South African Constitution, only 1/3 of the parliament's 400 lawmakers need to be present for a quorum and for the vote to elect the president to proceed.
The Pan-African Parliament has conveyed a message of condolences to the President of Malawi, Mr. Lazarus Chakwera, the family of Vice President Honorable Saulus Chilima, and the people of Malawi following the death of Honorable Chilima in a helicopter crash on Monday. In a statement, President of the Pan-African Parliament, Honorable Chief Fortune Charumbira, said the death of Vice President Chilima is not only a dark cloud for the people of Malawi, but the entire African continent. He said Africa lost a gallant son of the soil who sacrificed the comforts and opulence of a thriving career in the private sector to dedicate himself to a life of service as the Vice President. Chief Charumbira said the rise of Vice President Chilima inspired hope among the youth and rekindled their zeal for their participation and inclusion in the national governance framework. He said it is the Pan-African Parliament's hope that the people of Malawi will draw inspiration from his brief but impactful life in public office to rededicate themselves to the values of Ubuntu, which the late Honorable Chilima held dearly.
About 80 people have died after a boat sank in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, on the Kwa River in the Mai Ndombe province near the border with neighboring Congo-Brazzaville. In a statement, DRC President Felix Tshisekedi said the affected families will receive assistance, adding that he has ordered an investigation into the cause of the disaster. Deadly boat accidents are common in the DRC, where boats are frequently overcrowded with passengers who are rarely given safety jackets and often cannot swim.
The main news takes a breather. We'll be back shortly with business news.
Zimbabwe's favorite. Pizza Inn. Must be the pizza.
Welcome back from the break. We jump straight into our business news, where Zimbabwe's industry has recorded a marked increase in production through commissioning new plants and reviving operating units driven by SADC industrialization roadmap.
As Zimbabwe prepares to host the 44th SADC summit in August, statistics indicate industrial growth since 2014, when the regional trading bloc industrialization agenda was launched. Increased output, employment opportunities, recapitalization, investments in new machinery, and an over 80% availability of local products in retail markets, among others, are key indicators on the SADC industrialization drive results on Zimbabwe's industry. With the country hosting the 7th SADC Industrialization Week from the 20th of July to the 2nd of August.
In terms of processing, the agro-processing, we have seen that government is investing a lot in agriculture, and us being in the agro-industry, we have then decided now to move a gear up.
The reopening of firms aided by government interventions has been cited as a factor that has increased the production and reduced Zimbabwe's import bill for groceries.
We need the agriculture to go up. We have to do value addition to agriculture. We need a support on agriculture. We have plans of growing and processing rice here. We are already doing this investment which we have done in margarine, soap, baked beans. Now we are going into ketchup. Very soon the machines have started arriving.
Zimbabwe is also lining up a 5-year industrialization development policy which is being formulated in line with the SADC industrialization roadmap on value addition and beneficiation. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
And that's our business update. Taking us to a break. When we return, we join Anna Shemrombedze to give us our daily dose of sport in the Sport Corner.
That's it. The regular football season is over. What? Yes, it's over. No! Oh, no. But not for us here at Supersport. We've got a big deal coming your way.
Yeah! See, sorry. That's actually a pretty big deal.
Catch all 51 games of Euro 2024. Stay connected to DSTV to watch all the action on SuperSport.
Zimbabwe's favorite. Pizza Inn. Must be the pizza.
Yave nguva yekudya kwemangwanani kwakakosha nesiriel yenyu yamunofarira inogadzirwa muno muZimbabwe. Nestle Cerevita izere neutano unosanganisira iron, mavitamins nemaminerals zvinopa simba zuva rese. Saka zvakakosha kutanga zuva zvine ungwaru. Nestle Cerevita, highly nutritious, simply delicious.
Zim Digital set-top box decoders with all the 7 local television channels and 6 national radio stations are now available for sale. The decoder will give you viewers access to ZBC News, ZBC TV, ZBC Jive TV, 3K TV, Kiona TV, NR TV and ZTN Prime. No subscription is needed as all the channels are free to view. For $25 United States or the Zig equivalent, the decoder comes with a cable plus indoor and outdoor antenna. The decoders are available at the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe bars, Transmedia, and all the TV broadcasters.
Welcome to the Sports Corner. Anasham Rambidzi here with the latest in the world of sport. Zimbabwe cricket is finally expected to appoint a new national team coach 6 months after the resignation of Dave Wharton.
The Chevrons have been without a coach since Dave Wharton resigned in December last year, with Short Matsikinyere serving as interim coach. Zimbabwe Cricket ZC has however indicated that a new coach will be unveiled next week.
We should be making an announcement in the next few days. We had an overwhelming response from a number of coaches, both local and international. It's been a meticulous process in ensuring that we identify the right person to take the team forward. As you know, we failed to make the World Cup. Now we're at the rebuilding stage where we got a number of our players now leaving international cricket and playing more of domestic cricket, and we've got a young and exciting crop that is coming, and that you're obviously going to assign to the new man who's going to take charge.
ZC also indicated that members of the current technical department will be part of the new setup. Meanwhile, National Premier League NPO champions Takashinga Patriots begin their title defense with a date against Westside at Mutare Sports Club on Saturday, as the 4th edition of Zimbabwe's major club competition gets underway. Harare Metropolitan side Rangers are among the first-time participants in the tournament, together with strikers from Mashonaland East, Rimoka of Mashonaland West, and Knights from Masvingo. The 14-team competition is expected to come alive as 5th place Chicken Inn descend on the mining town, looking to stall Ngezi's progress. In other matches, Yada host log leaders Manika Diamonds at the Hart Stadium, Unpredictable Blawa Chiefs at Det FC Platinum at Lubeve Stadium, while Simba Bora host Areno Movers at Wadzanai Stadium. On Sunday, Dynamos entertained ZPC Kariba at Rufaro Stadium. Highlanders welcome Bikita Minerals to Babafield Stadium, while Caps United travel to Gweru for a date against Teo 1. Rhodes Lakama faces his former side, Greenfield, as they make the long trip to the colliery to face Wange. Chegudi Pirates host Herentals at Baobab Stadium to conclude matchday 15 fixtures. Lawrence Suseda, ZBC News, Harare.
That's it from the Sports Corner. Now let's take a look at the weather.
Hello there, thank you for joining us and welcome to the weather report and forecast, courtesy of the Meteorological Services Department. A glimpse of today's weather: clear skies, calm winds and very cold conditions occurred in the morning across much of the country. As a result, severe ground frost was reported in Nyanga, while other areas such as Matopos, Kezi, West Nick had slight ground frost. However, it was mild as the day progressed and cold towards this evening. Now, as we get into into tomorrow, we are expecting mostly clear skies, very cold in the morning, becoming mild by the afternoon, with scattered clouds drifting in the southern parts of Manicaland as the day progresses. Slight ground frost remains probable in areas such as Matopos, Westnik, Gwanda, Mashingo, just to mention a few. As for our temperatures in detail, we are expecting Harare to record a maximum of 23 with a minimum of 7, Blawai 24 and a 6, Gweru 21 and a 0 minimum, very cold, Mutare 24 and a minimum of 10, Kwekwe 24 and a minimum of 3, Kadoma 25 and a minimum of 3 as well. Moving on, Mashingo maximum 22 with a minimum of 1, Chinoi 25, 1 as well, Lupane 25 and 1, Pindura 24 with a minimum of 9 degrees Celsius, Marondera 20 with a minimum of 3 degrees Celsius, Gwanda 25 and a 2 minimum. For our holiday resorts, Victoria Falls is forecast to have a maximum of 25 and a minimum of 5 degrees Celsius, Kariba 30 and 11, Great Zimbabwe 22 and 1, Nyanga 16 with a minimum of 2 degrees Celsius, Matopos 23 and 0, Chimanimani 22 and 10. Now as we get into our outlook, we're expecting mostly sunny conditions over much parts of the country, very cold in the morning, becoming mild by the afternoon, except for the Manicaland, which should be partly cloudy in the morning, becoming less cloudy by the afternoon. That's all from the weather desk today. Christine Swander signing out.
Well, that caps tonight's bulletin. From the crew behind the scenes and all of us here, it's good night.
Good night.